Hi everyone, my name is Jamie Love. I have a very special guest with me today on this live. His name is David Day. He's an Argentinian American fasting specialist and digestive detoxification therapist. He is a 10 years plus raw vegan and fruitarian, as well as a public speaker and an audiovisual artist. So excited to have him on today. Let's see if we can get this going. Hello? Oh, there you are.
All right.
Nice to meet you. But now my headphones are not connected for some very odd reason.
I don't see you. I don't see, but I see myself. But if you can see yourself, that's great.
Okay. Yeah, it's just so weird because my headphones were working just fine,
Uh-huh.
and now it's not connecting to my headphones. So weird.
Yeah,
Is,
technology.
is there
The
an
important
echo?
thing,
Is there an echo or it's okay?
I hear you perfect.
Okay, perfect. I won't even worry about it.
All right.
All right. So hello.
Hola, hola.
Hello.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me over, Jamie. And yeah, it's so important to me to be building community with raw vegans and also with people who are looking to improve their health and are conscious about taking steps towards a more sustainable way of living, and also through health and consciousness expansion on what they consume.
Absolutely. So, just tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, you're living in California right now, correct?
Yeah, correct. I'm originally from Argentina, and yeah, I live nomadly throughout the United States. I'm also American, and yeah, I'm on a mission right now. I've been traveling all over the U.S. to find like a holy land, to build. I want to build a clinic where I can plant a lot of fruit trees and have people go over there to eat physiologically, have a liver cleanses, have colonic cleanses, and do a little bit of fasting and fruitarian living for some time. So that is my mission as of today, and yeah, and I'm looking to do that in Argentina. Yet I am back here in the United States. I've been back in the United States for about 2 weeks or so, and I'm like really building community, getting connected, and with people who are aligned, and yeah, setting everything up for what's going to be the next step.
That's amazing. Do you plan on doing retreats, or is it going to be like a living community?
Actually, both, but it's going to start with retreats. I think that I like also calling it like a clinic. I also like calling it a lot of different things. But yeah, the basic idea is to hold a space where people can reconnect with the soil. We will be working with regenerative soil techniques to enrich the foods, because I find as a fruitarian myself, and maybe you find the same problem as well, that even though we buy organic food, it comes from overexploited soils. So now it's not only about choosing the right foods, but also about enriching the soil where our foods grow. So I think that's a very important aspect as well to take in consideration.
Absolutely. Someone asked, what areas are you looking at California, but you said Argentina, correct?
Yeah, my original idea was to do it in Argentina, to do it here in the United States. Since I have both citizenships, it would have been like a pleasure. Yet I find soil quality. I love California. I love the people, and that's why I'm here. It's like a very conscious communities gather here, and I am very connected. Humanely, but it's the desert. And there's like the water quality, the water availability, all these things have been are challenging. There's some oases, but I think it's gonna happen in Argentina directly. But I am open to all the other possibilities, so we will see what comes up, one step at a time with the project.
That's amazing. So, yeah, I saw in one of your lives that you had just finished a 3-day water and dry fasting, and I know that you said you're a fasting specialist. Do you want to share a little bit what your experience is with fasting? Like, what's the norm for you? How often do you fast? What's the longest fast you've ever done? How did you get into it?
Okay, fantastic. Yes, I'm happy to share. Well, I just finished 78 hours of dry fast. So that means no food, no water. Fasting is like itself, like whether you do it with water or without water. It's fasting. It's a great technique for you to finish digesting and also purifying the body, right? So the body will start getting rid of all the old things that no longer serves them. And especially if you're sick or in discomfort, all animals practice this. They don't eat. And the idea is that if you're sick and you're eating, you're feeding all everything within yourself, all the entities that, habitate yourself. But if you don't stop eating, the only things that will survive are your stronger cells, and all the viruses, the bacteria, the parasites, they will get consumed by yourself, basically. So you're eating your disease. That's the simple way to explain the fasting. It's also a spiritual practice,
Mhm.
and that's for each person to find out, about expanding their horizons. But yeah, it's a great technique. I highly encourage it, especially with water fast. In the beginning, dry fasting, it's like a more intense level, and but yeah, it's
How long,
wonderful.
how long have you been fasting? And, like, when did you first start, and how long did it take you to work up to dry fasting? Because I know this is an issue that a lot of people, including myself, have. Water fasting, comes easy, but to get to the part of dry fasting, and this is probably what you'll incorporate at your retreat centers, I'm assuming.
That's absolutely right. Well, let me. We will get a little bit technical on this. First, I will tell you my personal experience. My first time fasting was at the age of 25. I thought that if you don't eat for 2 or 3 days, you die. That was my conception. So I had a gastritis, problem, and the doctor told me, like, well, you're gonna go on a fast 7 to 10 days, and I thought that was the end of my life. So I thought, well, like, that's it, and then I ended up going 7 days that time. And like, I cleared so much, I always say that day 7 or day 8 is like a magical day where your body discharges a lot of, like, metabolic residue accumulated in the liver, in the intestines, in the colon. So it's very interesting.
How
It's
long
a
ago did you say this first water fast was? The 7 days? How many years?
My first one was 7 days, yes, and this was 13 years ago or so. So yeah, and well, getting a little bit technical with fasting, it's very important to first off. I would like to explain hydration a little bit, because you can drink a lot of water, but water is not really what hydrates you at a cellular level. When we talk about hydration, it's not water, it's mineralization of the body, right? So mineralization of the body, it's the electrolytes, the minerals, the sodium, potassium, magnesium, phosphorus, the bodies that conduct electricity within your body, like when we talk about food, it's very important to remember that we are electrical beings. Our neurons work on electricity, our muscles work on electric impulses. So the conductivity on the food that we consume and within the storage of our body, it's vital. It's like one of the pillars of our functioning. So with that said, when you start fasting, it's very important prior to adopt a fruit diet. That's optimal because fruits will hydrate you at a cellular level, and you'll start getting high quality nutrients. And then, of course, I cannot recommend it to everybody because we will have people listen in many different situations. But a water fast is it's pretty safe overall for most people. Again, this is not advice because this is not one-on-one. But yeah, water fast. It's I mean, you can go water fasting and start taking toxins out, and then the less toxins there are, the longest that you can go with the fast. The less mucus your body will have, you know, and yeah, and then like, you know, like personally I progressed into dry fasting just out of intuition, and I don't schedule my fasts, and I never say like I'm gonna fast for 4 or 5 days. I never ever say that. I just go one day at a time and see how it evolves. This last fast that I did, I felt I was gonna be going for a week or 8 days or so, but I had to film a music video yesterday. I had some other creative work to do that requires some physical energy. So I had to end the fast so I can do my chores and my scheduled assignments and things. So
that's so funny you say that. I find the same thing whenever I try to plan a fast. It's almost like I go into this fear mode of, you know, like just being afraid, like, okay, oh no, you know, I'm going to fast, and then, you know, but when it just happens organically and naturally, it's so much better. I love it.
absolutely, absolutely, and it's very important to rest during the fasts. I mean, if you're fasting for a day or so, I even have run over marathon distances with no food, no water for, you know, over 20 hours. But you can do that once you're trained, once your body's clean, your body becomes a machine. You as a raw vegan probably are experiencing all these benefits that we have through the diet that we adopt. Yet longer than that, I don't recommend to exercise. I just recommend to, like, you know, have as much stillness as possible. Contrast therapy could be added. It depends on the person, but contrast therapy would be like, you know, cold exposure, those things that will move the lymphatic system. Yet, if you're in a heavy detoxification, like, that should be considered one by one case, you know. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So is there anything else that you wanted to add on the fasting, or did you want to move on to the next topic?
Well, the last thing that I have to say about fasting is, like, like, if I would be able to give one advice to people who are watching, I think it's very important to incorporate two. Now it's called intermittent fasting, but I think it's like a natural way of living, that it's very important not to eat at night. Give your body at least 4 hours of not eating before you go to sleep. When you're digesting, you cannot repair. So your body cannot repair when you're digesting. So give yourself at least 4 hours of no food before you go to sleep. You can drink water or tea or whatever you want to drink, but no food. And then in the morning, just spend some energy before you put more food into your body. So that's super important. So that will give you a window of, you know, maybe 14 hours, 15 hours of no food in your body. And the not eating is as important as eating, because that's the moment where you're gonna repair. Your body's gonna repair. It's gonna produce growth hormone. It's gonna take out all the debris. Because if you're constantly eating and eat several times a day, like, you know, you have no time for repairing. So if you want to build muscle, whatever you want to do optimizing the functioning of the body and the metabolic processes, it's very important to consider, like, you know, resting at least 14, 15, 16 hours a day, you know, and spend some energy before you add more energy to your body.
Thank you for that. It's so interesting that you are fruitarian, but also incorporate water fasting and dry fasting, because I'm such an advocate for fasting, but I know so many vegans and raw vegans and fruitarians that don't fast, and it's almost like they don't think that it's a necessary component to add to your diet when you're eating so clean, but it's so important. And how do you feel? Because I do know that there are some raw vegans, one of my mentors specifically, who recommends doing a 40-day juice cleanse and then going raw after that, does not advocate for water fasting, because they say that, you know, juice cleansing is what really cleans the toxins in the gut, and they don't advocate for water fasting. So how do you feel about juice fast, juice cleansing?
Well, there's a factor very important in the fruits, that is the fiber. So you need the fiber to have the bowel movements and to clear things out of your system. I think also the fiber not only helps you move the debris and the old things out of your intestines, but the fiber it's going to help you assimilating the sugars, because otherwise you're going to have spiked sugars when you eat. I mean, if you eat 5 oranges, or you chug 5 oranges in a glass of juice, it's a different process. And so I think that juice fasting, it's better than eating other foods. But if we want to go for the optimal, in nature, there's no juicers. If we want to go for the optimal, in my opinion, there's no... The magic bullet would be to just do the things, adopt, the new norms, and keep it as natural as possible. Like, if you can eat the fruit, it's going to be 10 times better. If you have juice here and there, it's great. But yeah, I wouldn't. I tried it myself. It's no, I'm talking to you about like a theory, but now on personal experience, it's kind of hard. Like, if you're going to be juicing, especially with the sugar and all this, and if you do like,
well, I think specifically they're talking green juices.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the green juice, it's like, if you want to really absorb the green juice, because the leafy greens have like a very similar composition to a blood, so they are great. But if you mix the green juices with fruit, you are not really like, I mean, the digestion has to be as simple as possible. So if you're doing green juice, it's only greens. Like when we add apples and cucumber and this and that, we're making the digestion like a little bit more complex. So personally, I think that all colors and all techniques are valid, because we are all readapting we all come from eating candy and having like, now on Christmas time, like you look back and look at the food that we used to consume back before, and some people still do. And I think whatever way that you can make it work, it's great, and it's going to be better. I don't want to say that it's a wrong thing, but I consider optimal to keep to grow into making it more natural. And I don't know if I'm answering your question.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Let's see. Okay, so then you wanted to also touch on the 5 factors of nourishment through food. Do you want to explain that?
I would love to explain this, because it's something that I like to share in my talks with people. It's food has 5 factors. So with this will give you the tools to identify when people talk to you about superfoods, or they talk to you about, like, the new thing that has this specific vitamin or whatever. There's 5 factors of food that you need to consider at the time of choosing what is going to nourish you. Factor number 1 is hydration. Food will either hydrate you or dehydrate you. So, eating cooked foods or animal products, of course, people drink when they eat that, because it is dehydrating you. Where if you just ate something and you are thirsty, that food dehydrated you. So hydration is very important. That's what we're saying. Hydration is mineralization. It's not just the water component, because you can drink water. If you go on a long water fast, let's say if you go like maybe 4 weeks on a water fast and you're not hydrated at a cellular level, you will be dehydrated. And how can that be possible? Like, if you're just drinking water, how can you be dehydrated? Because hydration, it's mineralization and the electrolytes. So, and the electrolytes have to do with the conductivity, or we'll talk a little bit in a moment with electricity, the electrolytes. Then factor number 2 is the energy. The food has to give you energy, so energize you. It's very important, to consider like the foods that will give you energy and keep you up running. The fruit has fructose. Fructose can be assimilated without insulin from the pancreas. It's the easiest form of sugar that the body can have. And well, the factor number three, is the nutrients, because you need a lot of nutrients also to assimilate certain vitamins. In order for you to absorb magnesium, you need phosphorus and calcium, for example. And if you have magnesium without phosphorus and calcium, it's like a chain. And then for you to absorb the calcium, you need the sunlight. And it's a whole lot of components. So it's the nutrients is very important in the food. Factor number four is the metabolic waste, or the cleaning factor, and that's why we were just talking about the fiber. Fiber is super important because it needs to clean up. One of the many tasks that fiber has is to clean up your system. Animal products will produce high metabolic waste. Meat or cheese, they have nutrients, yes, of course, and they have energy, but they have so much metabolic waste in your body that they are harmful for you. So the metabolic waste factor is super important for you to choose the food, and put these scales on food. And the factor number five would be the electromagnetic field. We are electrical beings. There's an electromagnetic load in whatever we consume, and fruits, of course, score 10 out of 10 in all these five factors that I'm telling you. And we are electrical beings. Again, our neurons work on electricity. Our muscles are electric impulses as well. Our heart, we need conductivity. So if we eat animal products, if we eat cheese and all those things, that will interfere. It will create a lot of metabolic waste, interfere with our electricity in our body, and it's not gonna work out.
Wow, that's really interesting. I've never heard anybody explain it like that. You came up with those five factors?
Yeah.
Like probably fasting, probably while fasting.
Yeah. When you're fasting, you get very illuminated, and you also, I went to medical school for a little bit. I studied in the university as well, different things. But these are some of the concepts. For me, in my opinion, it's very important to talk from experience.
Yeah.
Everything that I am telling you, or when I give my talks, I live it in my own flesh. So that's very important, because otherwise we're talking from theory,
Right. And I love the way you explained that. Do you have that in some sort of a little guidebook or something?
I am working on my book, but I will tell you the truth. I've been working on my book so long. It's just like my life is going so fast. I need to start working on that. So I hopefully will create some content and upload that soon, because it's one of the key factors that I like to share, to bring awareness, and especially here in LA, I attended some biohacking events, and everybody's like, I mean, not everybody, but I feel like we're after the magic bullet, the magic thing that is going to give you the longevity. This drink is going to give you the longevity, or this powder or whatever. And it's really, if you understand food from the functions and the basic functions that it has, you will understand that nothing that comes in a powder or in a container will save your life, nonetheless give you a better life quality.
Right. So do you only eat fruit? Do you eat greens? Do you eat sprouts? What is your diet on a typical day?
Okay, I eat fruits. I also eat leafy greens, and sometimes I eat nuts that I activate when they are raw nuts. I eat close to my house in Argentina. I have some walnut trees that I can go and with two rocks, just take the the walnuts, and they're fresh. I don't need to activate them like the ones that you buy in a supermarket or something like that. Supermarket, you need to activate them, because of course they're dehydrated. Otherwise, you cannot consume them. But my diet, it's mainly seasonal fruit. Now in California, we're getting oranges already, so I love to go to the trees and pick whatever is available. I was in Paraguay. When was it? 3 weeks ago, I was in Paraguay. There were mangoes in the streets. I was like eating, like, if I tell you I ate 10 or 15, I am short. Like I was like eating so many mangoes right off the trees that it falls from there. So like if you're open to the fruit and the local production or wherever you travel, there's a lot of abundance and a lot to discover that nature is giving us, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to touch on the fact, also, if anybody has any questions, please type it in the chat and we'll ask David. I just want to, explain to people about the electricity in the food, how you're talking, the electric and the Killian photography. Do you want to just touch on that a little bit and explain to them
Oh,
the life force energy and the food that's raw and living as opposed to when you cook it?
yeah, of course. Like, when you have a raw food, you have this conductivity, you have like it's alive, and also you have these enzymes. All these factors are they are very important because they are like, for example, vitamin C is a vitamin that everybody loves because the marketing, it's like, very pushing on it. Vitamin C is temperature, it's heat sensitive. So like, it's, imagine it as a hair. If you grab a piece of hair and you light it up, it's going to start like, like a bending. So that's kind of what happened with a lot of the nutrients that you consume. So it's very important. And I will push it a little bit more because I know like there's a lot of raw foodies that they hydrate their food, and some that freeze them. And as I say, there's no wrong on this, and I am happy that we make our best effort because we come from a big overstimulation on eating. But really, like, it's not necessary to do one or another outside the stimulus. Like, you can live without a fridge, and you will have the best diet, So yeah, and that's something important to take in consideration.
Yeah, because the raw vegan lifestyle is so simple, right?
It
And
is.
well, that's the interesting thing too, is when people are like, well, I can't go raw because I don't have a blender and a dehydrator and I don't have, this and I don't have everything else. And it's really just as simple as picking up some fruit and vegetables and eating it, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. I will tell you something about my personal story. Sometimes I forget to tell, but I built my own house in Argentina. And that was the pivoting moment for me because I was already like raw vegan. And then I was going to design this super kitchen. And I was like lifting, each cement bag is 50 kilos. So to give you an idea, it's brick, cement, and rebar. It's not like the houses here in the United States that is just like, wood that you just like, like with a nail handgun, you just put it. Like over there, it's like super hard work. And I lifted my house eating bananas and mandarins. And that was like the pivoting time where I'm like, oh, I'm not eating any more cooked food. I ate cooked food several times after that, but that was one of the most enlightening moments for me to say, like, I did the most effort I ever did in my life physically. And I was like feeling amazing and getting like a lot of body mass and all these things for lifting heavy things. And and I had no fridge for over 10 years. I was gifted a fridge and I sold it because I don't need it. Now I bought one before going because I was gonna Airbnb my house. So I have a fridge. I don't use it. I don't need it. Why would I need it? Like like the leafy greens, I have them in my garden. I just pick them. Like I don't even kill the lettuce, like I just like get the leaves that I need and that's it. I just let everything be and live, and and the fruit, it's just like it stays at room temperature. It's all good.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, how has your fitness been? I don't know what your fitness level is, but being 10 plus years raw fruitarian, how have you noticed your
Well,
body or your fitness levels or your because I know there's a lot of people who are like, well, you need, it's hard to build muscle as a fruitarian. I know Ted Carr right now is doing all kinds of things, showing people how you can build muscle while fruitarian. Have you noticed anything? Yeah.
Well, yes, I have much to say on this subject. First off, we are like in a culture where women have to look like Barbie and men have to look like He-Man, or that's where I come from. You know, I was always like, you know, like at home I used to be like always the skinny one, and I was too skinny. I started with a fruit diet like at the age of 7. I was allowed to be on this veganism, and like, you know, the fact that I was like too skinny was always a thing. There's a real reality that what we want a body that is constructed with the programming that we have in our mind, and that's very important to acknowledge that. I am a runner. As a runner, I don't need to have like a lot of muscle, because if I look like He-Man or Arnold Schwarzenegger and I have a lot of muscle, I'm not going to be able to either swim too far or too fast, or whatever, or run too fast, or cycling very well. So like, you know, the body type will be corresponding to the activity that you are performing. So if you are building a house, lifting cement bags, you're gonna get a buff and all these things, all this, right? And it has to do not much with your diet. It has much to do with the exercise and the activity that you do, and that's where it goes. Because how many people do we know that eat very bad and they eat all these animal products and all this? Inside they are rotten in, but outside they look great. And that's a real reality. You can look great eating crap. Like there's like you can eat McDonald's and be like looking great because you're going to a gym every day. And so
And can eat very healthy and have a very flabby, skinny, fat-looking body, right? With no muscle, you have no activity.
exactly. It's like about, for me, it's like about like two things. First off, about performance and work with the ego. I think that, you know, for example, if you like, I mean, if you're eating with your brain and you want to put more muscle, and like, what are you going to do with your muscle? Like, you know, and what's the activity that you're performing? Are you like, you know, planting trees? Are you doing like, if you work on the earth, you're gonna get all these muscles. And I have friends. This is I maybe I'm touching some fibers, but we can be loved without looking like this. I mean, you know, it's just especially here in the United States, in LA, like, you know, like you have to have a certain body, earn an amount of money. You can be loved when you're failing as well, and when you're not looking like a top model. You can be loved and you're worth of loving. Because I don't think that anyone who goes to a gym, I try to go to a gym so much, but it's just like I feel that it's like so purposeless, you know. It's just like, I mean, who enjoys lifting weights like a million times to look a certain way? Like, it's just like, I think that it's like an ego work that we have to do, because nobody likes the gym. If you go and chase a ball or you enjoy cycling, like, I think it's more about the finding the activity that we enjoy, and be consistent on becoming better on a sport, or a discipline, you know, more than going to a gym to look a certain way. For me this year, it was great. Touching on physically, I climbed Mount Elbert. Is the highest peak of the Rockies. I climbed it with 20 hours dry fast, and half of the way I was barefoot. So like, you know, don't mean to flex, but then after the tree line, it just got too rocky, and I just put my my shoes on. I went up Zion National Park, 12K, over 100 degrees, no food, no water for 18 hours, and then I went running back. So it was 24 kilometers, but the first 12 was all like slope going upwards. And you know, like, I mean, if you're clean and your body's clean, like, you know, and it's not like I woke up and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna climb like this, or I'm gonna go do this. I just go running and enjoy one moment at a time. And sometimes like it happens that I go and do a very long one, and then it's for the record books. But it's not that's not my intention at the beginning. My intention is to just go out, get some movement, and feeling well. And yeah, physically I am very thin, but that's what works for me when I run, and when I go and help friends moving things, and when I'm building, you know, or planting trees, whatever, you know, like, just look for efficiency, and I don't care like to the way I look, how aesthetic it is, you know. We're worth of love.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I was just watching a bit of an interview with Douglas Graham, Dr. Doug Graham, and there was there was 4 of them on the panel, and 2 of them, you know, the whole topic was building muscle on a fruitarian diet, on fruits. And, you know, they're all talking about how to build muscle. And then Doug Graham was the only one. He's like, well, I have to debate you. Not everybody wants to build muscle. And, you know, it doesn't really serve a purpose for somebody who's a runner or a swimmer, or, you know, so he said the exact same. Do you follow Doug? Do you listen to a lot of the stuff?
I had an interaction with him. Actually, he used to coach a good friend of mine who's a raw vegan, and she's an ultra marathon runner in Texas. She's based in Texas, and Doug Graham was was her trainer. Actually, I had a Skype call like a long time ago, like, you know, with him, and we had some exchange. It was really interesting. I read his book as well. Like, I like his contents. Yeah,
that's really cool. And let's see. I know you were talking the spiritual aspect of fasting is so fascinating. And, you know, from my experience of fasting, putting any food in your body after not eating for so long, because you're on such a high, you're vibrating so high, your consciousness is so high, and you're just feeling divine love flow right through you. And then you break your fast, and when you're aware of it, you just feel your energy just start to lower, and it feels so heavy. And just food in general is so heavy.
Yeah.
Really grounding us to the physical plane, right?
Yeah, well, for me, it depends in which stage I am, but I feel that when we do this cleanse, like I do it as a spiritual practice, as you were mentioning, is like it's something that a lot of religions talk about, you know, Christianism, Judaism, Muslims, Islam, like, you know, like everybody talks about like, you know, like, I mean, it's something that's been going on for thousands of years in humanity, you know, the practice of fasting and the Egyptians, and it's something like it's millenary. So I feel that for me, when I refeed, I don't feel that it's dense food. I just make it very simple. It's very welcoming, like, you know, to be, you know, like reabsorbing and waking up the digestive system. I choose, you know, this last fast I chose grapefruit. I really like grapefruit. I try to go for non-sweet fruit, sometimes cucumber, sometimes I do monomeals. I really like monomeals. I like eating one type of fruit and not combine too much, you know, with anything, you know. My salads have 2 components or 3 sometimes, you know. It's just making digestion as easy as possible. But I do the food that I consume, I try to make it the highest quality. Of course, sometimes it's difficult to get. Today I went to Topanga Topanga here in California, and there was a grapefruit tree, so I grabbed a grapefruit and I ate it. And then I had one more grapefruit in my car, but it was a store-bought from the store. And I was with a friend, and we tried both. And I asked him, like, what do you think of the differences? And he told me exactly the same thing that I felt. It was like the electricity and the load of the one that I just picked from the tree was like, it was like getting in my body in a way that it's very difficult to describe, but I just assimilated, and it was not very sweet. It was like very acid, actually, and the other one was sweeter, and it had more color. It was riper, the supermarket one, but there was something energetic that was, I don't want to say it was off, but yeah, it was different, you know. So that's why I'm such an advocate of trying to like get fruit. The farmers markets, it's very difficult. Just try to see who produces it, or add to your agenda in the next 5 to 10 years. Get some land and start growing your own food. I think, you know, like freedom starts from there, you know.
Yeah, because even the farmers markets, it's not that great either, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's generally it's very difficult, you know, and it's that, like, you know, a farmer from the farmer's market cannot feed an entire community, you know, like we really need to step up into regenerating soil, into learning real things, you know, and curate the content that we are assimilating and like that we're consuming with our eyes, with our ears, like what we're listening to, you know, not only about the food but about the consciousness and our future, you know.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, you know, being fruitarian for so long and fasting, dry fasting, is breatharian in your future, on your spiritual path?
That's I love that question. I had that question before. I really don't know because it was never like a goal for me to become like a fruitarian, and it was never a goal for me to practice fasting and all these things. It was just like it just started happening, and even I think it was very enlightening. Like I had some health problems that I cured with fasting. So even the low notes in life have things to show you, you know. Sometimes we are like only enjoying life and the good moments and the fun things and all that this, but if we don't also are present, if we don't stay present in the low notes, we're missing out a lot of information, you know. One of the things I would like to share with you, my longest fast was with water was 16 days so far, and I had a back injury, and that's why if I started fasting, like, you know, like a prolonged fast. I injured my back and my foot. Like I opened my foot and I needed stitches, and I was in the Caribbean, there was no doctor to take care of this. And, you know, like I could have just, like, you know, take a flight and go to a hospital and complicate myself and get stressed out, or say like, okay, I'm going to stay still, I'm going to fast, and my body's going to heal and everything will be all right. And thanks to that, I did my longest fast. And then, you know, I started, like, you know, getting really like a lot of benefits. I started doing it more and more, and I started healing other things that were not even in my list. I thought, oh, I feel good, and I really didn't know what feeling good was. Like, you know, I was feeling, you know, like in a way that was not better than what I feel right now. So I think, yeah, I think enjoying the low notes, feeling our feelings, being present is very important.
I totally agree with you. And then the last thing was the modern medicine and building health. Do you want to touch on that?
Yes, and we are like basically on the same note with that, because I feel that modern medicine, like I think if you are in a car wreck, if you break a bone or whatever, I think the hospital is the best way. There's a lot of technology that can save your life. I think medicine is really good and really advanced on that, you know. But if you're having a chronic problem because you're eating things, or you have a lot of metabolic waste and all this, I feel that medicine is shifting people are shifting from having the doctor to the shaman, and having, instead of pharmaceutical medicine, they have the poison of a frog and ayahuasca and all these things to alter the state of consciousness, which is doing the same as the pharmaceuticals are doing. Is numbing the symptom, or numbing, like, you know, resisting a change, you know. And I think that the future of medicine is, you are the future of medicine. Health is something that you build. If you come with $1 million right now, and I had a conversation with a gentleman that is investing millions of dollars recently about this. If you come with $1 million right now with me and bring me the best doctor in the world, the best doctor in the world can do nothing for me. The best doctor in the world cannot, like, no human being has more knowledge or technology, and I don't care how good your technology is. My body, if I fast, my body will know which cells to take out, will know where the parasites are, where the viruses, whether the viruses have life or not. Your body will consume, it will eat your disease. So empowering yourself in the healing process is the future of medicine, in my opinion, and it's free. You just have to build it. You cannot buy it, and you cannot whether you build it or you don't. And if you don't build it, it's fine. If you want to smoke cigarettes, it's great. If you want to pray to a sneaker bar because you put intention to a sneaker bar, or you put intention to a dead animal to nourish you, You can try that, but there's a nature of the sneaker bar, there's a nature to the dead animal, there's a nature to the cigarette. And even though you put a lot of intention and you pray that this cigarette will help you run faster, intention can only go so far, because things, matter has a nature, and we interact with the nature of matter. So I think that when we're altering our state of consciousness, when we're looking for the magic bullet to go to digesting trauma and all this, it's not about, in my opinion, it's not about shifting the medicine from the pharmaceutical to a natural whatever to alter your state of consciousness. It's about for you to be present on your low notes, do the inner work, and from there, it's a spiritual journty. It's part of it's most enriching.
Do you mind me asking, just really quick before we wrap up, what types of things do you like to do for your inner work? Like while you're fasting, like do you do breath work or any sort of meditation? Like what's your tool of choice?
My tool of choice is I would say my pillars for my good functioning, because I think that my way of living it's like I don't need a vacation from my way of living. It's just saying yes to the projects I like, saying no to the things that I don't like, redirecting the conversations that I have with people, because when people tell me, like about news or something like that, I can curate on that content on that energy, or putting boundaries if I need to. I have no problem going dark if I have to, but those are my practices. Are very within the interaction, that I have with the external world, and playing for me is fundamental. Playing, dancing. You can play and dance on your darkest moments. A lot of artists know this, because an artist is going through a dark phase, but if they have the discipline to keep on playing or keep on doing what they do, they will do lovely things, or at least expressions that will help them out to come out from the darkness. I think meditation, it's great. Sometimes I do it. I just I think sleeping, it's necessary. If you need to sleep 12 hours, sleep 12 hours. I have periods of my life where I sleep 11, 12 hours a day. I think when we need to take pauses or be present on our rhythm, and I think that would be my practice. Answering your question, I don't have the magic bullet on meditating or doing this or that, because it's not something that I will do as a routine. I just say yes to the projects that I like. I just say yes to the travels that I want to do, and navigate from there, and play a lot, interact as much as I can, and then when things get dark, because they might get dark, it's just about how well can you dance when the things are going bad, because that's your key point. My best kilometer is not going to be the first one or the third one. My best kilometer is the hardest one, is the last one. That's my best kilometer. My best interaction is not going to be when I like everybody. When I was with Rob in a meeting with Rob Egan's a couple of weeks ago, and it was beautiful, but that's not my highlight. My highlight is when I am surrounded by people who are not maybe aligned with what I'm doing, and I try to connect and throw some magic or navigate circumstances that are challenging, and that's going to be the top performance. So I think that once we're clean, and once we digest, once we do we put in the work, I think the real work is going to be in the outside world that needs much help, because there's a lot to do, and and then once you empower yourself, you're not going to be wasting time on little things.
That's beautiful. I love that. You're really just using your intuition and knowing exactly what your body, mind, and soul needs at any given moment. Flowing with life. I love that. So beautiful.
Thank you.
Is there any last thoughts that you would like to share before we close out with anybody?
Well, as you just mentioned, the intuition, I think that our body has our mind, our heart, and we have our gut. That is the intuition. The intuition will be the non-logical feelings that you have to follow. And if your gut is not clean, your mind will take over. And that's why our society is so cerebral at this point, because they are taking decisions from the fears, from not from the intuition, but from logic, you know, and life is not really logic, you know. So, I mean, you have different types of logic, but I think that having like a clean gut, you know, is going to help you, you know, not to pedal, you know, extra with your heart, and your mind, you know, has to follow along, but not taking over the intuition. So cleaning your gut, that's what I do for living. I am a digestive detoxification therapist, and yeah, that's why I dedicate my life to help people, you know, clean their liver, clean their intestines, so they can have a better way of interacting with navigating themselves with the world and what it has to offer to them.
That's very powerful. I love that. That's very powerful. I like the way you explained it too. So easy for people to understand who are having a hard time connecting with their creativity, connecting with their intuition, really being able to know what the right decisions are and what opportunities to take and which ones not to take. And, you know, it's very hard to make those decisions just using logic when we can't follow our intuition. So
exactly,
it's a
yeah.
really good way of explaining it, and I think people are going to resonate with that a lot. So, but thank you so much. This has been so beautiful, and I really can't wait to meet you in person. I hope you're still here for our next meetup, and I hope I get to meet you and be honored by your beautiful presence and your energy. And if nobody has any questions, I think we will end here. But you can find David at on Instagram. His handle is at nutritionaljustice, and I will also tag him, or you know, I can add you as a collaborator if you would like to add it to your
Please,
profile.
please,
And
yes,
then
yes.
people can, you can DM him. He does coaching, helping people with fasting and detoxing your digestive system. So follow him and reach out to him with any questions that you might have, and you can hopefully meet him in person if you're in Los Angeles and you come to our next Raw Vegan meetup. So thank you so much, David. It was such a pleasure having you here today, and I really, really enjoyed hearing all of the amazing knowledge and wisdom that you had to share.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Thank you for the space. Thank you for the connection. And yes, I would love to meet you soon in the next Raw Vegan meetup here in Los Angeles. And thank you so much for creating these spaces where people can get more knowledge about what we're doing. And
you're welcome. And then for anybody who's watching who does not follow me, my handle is agelessbeauty143. Okay, that is all for today, and until next time.
much love. Thank you so much.
Goodbye. Namaste.
Namaste.